Do you agree or disagree? Include details and examples when stating your opinion.
Online teaching or offline teaching has the same credence, but is online teaching an effective way to educate children? Of course I don't. I really don't agree that online teaching is an effective way. If we study from home, of course we will act like eating, sleeping, or while watching TV during the teaching activity. This is very ineffective and just wasting of time. But if during pandemic like this, online teaching is an effective way to teaching our kid, because it's very dangerous to go out there.
Speaking task 2. You will read a short paragraph and then listen to a conversation between two people. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep.
The faculty of has decided to start having lesson on Friday. We feel that it is trained on students to have the lectures only from Monday to Thursday. If we also include Friday, it will free up some time that will allow students to feel more relaxed. Another way in which this will have is that it will free up space in the classroom. Many students have complained that they had a hard time finding a place. So, by adding another day for lesson, we think that it will open up spaces and create additional capacity for the courses which are taken by the majority of the students.
Now listen to the conversation between two people. It is great what they are planning with the change of the schedule, don't you think?
I don't. Actually, I think they are trying to trick us.
Why do you say that?
Well, the classes are not that full. They mention courses that are taken by the majority of the students. They must be referring to general psychology. I have it. The Stevens Hall where the classes are held is almost filled to capacity, but there are always several seats left.
So why do you think they are doing this?
Well, the professors complained that their salaries are low. I think the administration decided to give them extra classes in order to justify the pay raise to the Board of Trustees.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I don't buy the story that this is done so that we can relax more.
I will actually welcome the change. Taking some classes on Friday in order to have more free time during the other days is fine by me.
Well, it's not something I will like. I really want to continue to have my extended weekend. Some classes will be moved on Friday without my choice. I hate that I will lose that free day.
I don't think it will be that bad. Maybe you will enjoy those free hours during the weekdays.
We shall see, but I am convinced that I will not be okay with this change.
The female student talks about the recent change in the schedule of the lectures. Say what is her opinion and why she has it. Prepare your response after the beep.
Actually, they are trying to trick the student. Actually, the class is not full, and so the schedule should not be changed. Change the day. It happened because the professor salary was low. The girl thinks the administration decided to give extra classes to the student and the professor, and the girl wants that her weekend be a free day, so there is no schedule on the weekend.
Speaking task 3. You will read a short paragraph about an academic topic, then listen to a lecture about it. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep.
Hibernation is a state of inactivity followed by a low heart rate. low breathing, and low metabolic rate. Hibernation occurs seasonally and it usually happens during the winter months. Hibernation is done by many rodents as well as by large animals like birds. It is a way for animals to adapt the change that come from different weather patterns. Hibernation is done by animals that regulate their own body temperature rather than depend on the environmental sources of the heat. Animals that hibernate tend to eat a lot of food in the fall so that they can prepare for their long winter sleep.
Now listen to the lecture.
Hibernation is a process which is associated with warm-blooded animals, and it's something that helps them survive the cold winter months. Let's use bears as our example for this. Just like other warm-blooded animals, bears need to maintain their own internal body temperature, and they need a lot of energy for this. To get this energy, they need to eat a lot of food. But during winter, food is scarce, so the bear would simply lower its breathing, lower its heart rate, which would lower the metabolism, and this in turn would lower the body temperature. So the bear would need less energy in order to survive. And survival is just something that would not happen if the bear would not go into this process. Hibernation is something which can last anywhere from several days all the way to several months. It depends on the species and on the environment in which this species finds itself. Before an animal starts hibernating, it needs to prepare itself. It needs to consume a lot of food because even though its energy requirements will be lower, it will still have to maintain some bodily functions in order to live.
The lecture is about hibernation. Explain why do animals hibernate as well as how they achieve this state. Use points and examples from the lecture. Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
Hibernation is process which is primarily done by the animal, which warm-blooded animal like bears. The animals spend a lot of energy in order to maintain their internal body temperature during the winter or cold month. This this animal unable to get their energy because of lack of food, but before the hibernation, they had eat a lot of food as a food inventory to deal with hibernation. When hibernating, tend to stand still. The animal tend to stand still so the body does not carry out metabolic processes quickly.
You will listen to a lecture about an academic topic. After, you will get a question about what you heard. You will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. Now listen to the lecture.
A monopoly is a company that is the only provider of a good or a service. This gives it a tremendous competitive advantage over the other companies that want to break into the market. Some companies become monopolies through vertical integration. Basically, they control the entire supply chain, all the way from getting the raw goods to production to retail to selling the product. Others use horizontal integration, which means that they buy up all of their competitors until they are the only ones left. No matter how we get to a monopoly, they are bad. The number one reason they are bad is because of price fixing. Simply put, because they are the only ones on the market, they can decide at what price to sell a given good or a service. And they can charge you several times more compared to the price you would pay if there were other companies providing the same thing. A monopoly can also decide to give you an inferior product. The product will have a declining quality. For example, let's talk about a chocolate factory. Let's say this chocolate factory is the only one who can sell it to us. Now they can simply decide to put less cocoa and less milk over time and because you cannot go somewhere else to buy a chocolate, you will simply take this inferior product, this product which will become worse and worse over time. Another thing that happens when you stop having competitors is that you stop innovating. So we see a loss of innovation. A monopoly is simply not desirable.
And there are three reasons why monopolies are not a good thing for the economy. The first reason is price fixing, because the monopoly can decide to charge higher price for some product. And the second reason is product can be manipulated, the ingredients, or the product is the only one on there. Like for example, is chocolate. Chocolate can have less of cocoa, sugar, so it if there is no other chocolate to buy. However, we should buy the chocolate if we need. And then third reason is less or the less or loss of innovation, because in the monopoly there is no competitor.